Okay, this is a quick reaction video to Henry Talks Football. Henry's talking about Arsenal's transfer move for Sandro Tonali from Newcastle. Look, I don't believe this is going to happen. This is too late in the window to even start that. I think they made a bid for him and it was rejected. I don't see Tonali moving from Newcastle to Arsenal. I just don't see that happening at all. Be nice if it did, but I don't see it happening. But let's see what Henry has to say about it. Please click like, share, and subscribe for me as well as for him.
It wouldn't be deadline day without some drama between transfer journalists. One journalist is saying this, one journalist is saying that. Sky Sports is saying this, Romano's saying this. As you can tell by the thumbnail, big news has come out within the last hour, coming out from Florian Plettenberg, who normally is a very credible journalist, has said that Arsenal are interested in a potential deadline day move for Sandro Tonali. Now,
to be fair, this was on AFTV earlier. I saw that about an hour and a half ago, something like that. And I think they mentioned on Talk Sport that they don't see it happening because Newcastle's rejected the move. And I think they want £100 million or something like that, or whatever. And that's not going to happen. They're not going to pay that amount of money on transfer deadline day. But it's just not going to happen.
Before we get into the actual report, Sandro Tonali is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. What is the likelihood of him leaving Newcastle on deadline day when there is less than 9 hours left? I think before anyone calls me down for being a clickbait,
and if I said Tottenham earlier, I meant Newcastle. So
merchant, whatever you want. I think this is highly, highly unlikely. What I will say is, though,
I say here, it comes out there.
Will potentially bring someone in on loan between now and the next 8 or 9 hours. Could be likely, and it depends on the severity of Mikel Merino's injury, because after all, that is what started all of the transfer gossip.
But to be fair, I don't think they need to get anybody to take the place of Mikel Merino. I mean, yes, he's an outstanding player. Yes, he scored some wonderful goals for Arsenal, but I don't think you really need to get anybody for Arsenal. At least I don't think they do.
Mikel Merino, according to David Ornstein yesterday, is going to be out for some time due to a injury in his foot. I believe it's a broken toe or a broken bone in his foot. David Ornstein put it out yesterday to say that the Arsenal midfielder is expected to miss a considerable amount of time with a suspected broken bone in foot. Arsenal surveying market for a potential loan. A short-term cover for the 29-year-old Spanish international. No guarantee if anything materialises before the deadline day.
Unlikely. You might be able to get a loan with somebody, but highly unlikely. Who'd be able to come at such short notice? That's the question.
Now, this could be complete agent talk. This could be complete BS. But I want to talk about the story for a couple of minutes. Make sure you go down and drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button. We just hit 88,000 subscribers, and now we're steamrolling our way towards 100,000. We're already at 81.1k, which is just absolutely obscene. Now, this transfer story has got a lot of people talking. Now, first things first I want to say is Florian Plettenberg normally is very, very good, right? Exclusive, Arsenal are exploring a surprising deadline day move for Sandro Tonali. Very difficult at this stage as Newcastle have rejected an initial approach.
And they're going to continue to reject it because Newcastle, if they were to sell Tonali, who could they bring in to replace him? It's just if this was 2 weeks ago that they were doing this, okay. But this is not 2 weeks ago. This is deadline day. Very, very difficult.
Now, I don't think this deal will be happening. But he, in an Arsenal shirt, potentially could be one for the summer. Now, Sandro Tonali, for me, if anyone who's watched this channel for a long time, whenever I cover Newcastle United, he is one of the best midfielders in the league. And that's not even close. He is absolutely fantastic. He's played 7 games in the Champions League, 24 in the Premier League, 1 in the FA Cup, 3 in the League Cup. He's been at Newcastle United since 2023.
And I think he lost a year because of gambling. But other than that, he has been an outstanding player for Newcastle.
And as you can see, by transfermarket.co.uk, his contract expires June 30th, 2028, which is only 2 and a bit years away now. He's an out-and-out DM, which could, if he were to join Arsenal, he could go in and maybe play as a DM, and then they could have Zubimendi and Rice rotating as the 8. They could have Odegaard, Everett Chiese, Havertz rotating in 10, Max Dalman when he's back. But I just don't see this happening. Now,
he's also 25 years old. He's still in his prime, or about to enter his prime.
Now, what's really, really interesting is another credible journalist has come out and again said this could be happening. Now, I'm just trying to find the report coming out from Nico Schreier, who again is another credible journalist. And he has said in the last hour or so that Arsenal have shown interest in Sandro Tonali. Newcastle would ask for £100 million.
Yeah, £100 million, and Arsenal is not going to pay that on deadline day. That's just impossible. I mean, it's not impossible for Arsenal to afford it, but it's impossible for Arsenal to pay it. It's just not going to happen.
I do not see a world in which Arsenal drop £100 million on deadline day. But again, it's another credible journalist. Arsenal show an interest in Sandro Tonali and are really working to sign him, offer the contract until 2031 with a very rich salary to convince Tonali to join AFC. It's not simple. The time is short. Newcastle ask £100 million and would not want to sell the midfielder. So you got 2 credible journalists coming out and saying that. Then Fabrizio Romano, who hasn't been the best this transfer window, has retweeted from Luke Edwards from The Telegraph. Newcastle have described stories claiming Arsenal have made a late attempt to sign midfielder Sandro Tonali is stupid and a complete rubbish. But other than that, it's a good story. Now, the club could come out and quite easily play the story down and then brief the media that it is complete nonsense, when there could actually be legs in the story. It's just unlikely. And this is where, unless it's David Ornstein coming out and saying this, who...
Look, if you were picking up a midfielder like a guy who's bench warming for Newcastle and you want to pay £10 million for him and they don't need him, don't want him, that's fine. That's definitely doable on transfer deadline day, okay? But for Tonali on deadline day, an important player for Newcastle, a player they need if they're going to succeed in Europe, if they're going to succeed in the Premier League. That just does not make any sense at all for Newcastle. Even if Arsenal ponied up £100 million to sell, it just would not make any sense.
Hasn't, as it stands, commented on the story. Romano has got a number of things wrong, and I'm going to stand on that. This month, he has got a couple of things wrong, and I just don't see. I don't see. I don't see him, coming out and commenting on this. He's he likes to stay out of all the drama on social media when it comes to reporters. And the last thing he tweeted out was about a Southampton player, and that was an hour ago. So at the moment, you've got this person saying that person saying this. I don't think it will happen. However, this could be one to watch for the summer. It's going to be...
Yeah, in the summer it makes more sense to... You can negotiate the price to something which is reasonable for Arsenal and for Newcastle and for Tonali. You can offer him a contract to 2031, which is what that said in the tweet. And you can also, Newcastle can bring in somebody else or just use the money to bring in another player. That would make more sense to me, okay? Look, as an Arsenal fan, I would love to see Tonali in an Arsenal uniform today. Not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
A very, very interesting summer transfer window coming up. Now, Romano has come out in the last 45 minutes and said Arsenal are exploring a move for 18-year-old striker who's already been
Yeah, from Hearts, James Wilson. He's already been capped by the Scottish national team. Now, again, I don't know why why you do a loan, maybe loan to buy. I've heard about this one as well. I'm not so sure about it. Why would you take this kid on loan? It makes more sense to maybe to pay, buy him in the summer. I guess I don't know.
capped by Scotland. James Wilson, an initial loan being discussed club to club. Now, would that be coming in to replace Mikel Merino? Potentially. Now, let's have a look at James Wilson and have a look at what he can actually bring.
I believe he plays for Hearts. Yeah, Hearts, which is at top of the Scottish Premier League this year.
To, Arsenal potentially. Well, he is, as it stands, he's 18 years of age. He's got Scotland and Northern Ireland citizenship. Currently playing for Hearts. His record, for playing for Hearts as an academy player, as an under-18s player, he's played 83 times. And he's currently got 27 goals and 9 assists. So what's that? 36 GA. Has he played in the Conference League? He's played 3 times and scored 1 goal. He's played in the Europa League qualifying. He's played in the Scottish Championship and got 5 goals and 1 assist as an 18-year-old. Is he potentially going to come in and get over the line and potentially play as a third, maybe fourth choice striker while Mikel?
I mean, it's not a bad play, but taking a kid on loan, it's interesting. Okay, he looks like an interesting player, but I don't know if he's, again, I don't know why you take him on loan. Why you just pay the money for this kid?
Marino is out injured. That is probably more likely. And what I will say is Arsenal between now and the end of February and March time have a lot of football to play. They've got to play Chelsea tomorrow. They've got to play Sunderland on Saturday, Brentford on Thursday, and then I believe the Wolves game could be later this month as well. They could have a double game week for anyone who plays FPL. And then the last game of the month, they have got a North London derby against us. Then you get into March where they'd have Chelsea, Brighton.
It's funny, last year, March of 2025, I was in London at the Emirates Stadium to watch Arsenal play Chelsea. And they're going to play again March again of this year, so which is interesting.
They could have a cup final against Man City or Newcastle, Everton, Wolves. That game will be getting moved forward. So then you're going to have the next round of the Champions League. Rotation is going to be very, very, very important. Now, let me know your thoughts. Do you think this 18-year-old potentially can come in? I'm going to be the first person to say I don't really know much about this player, like a lot of us.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about him either. And Robbie of AFTV didn't know a lot about him either. So, we'll see how it all pans out. More likely that he comes in than Sandro Tonali.
Who knows what's going to happen with him? But for me, I think that's probably more likely at this stage than, for instance, a Sandro Tonali getting over the line. It's going to be a very, very interesting 8 or 9 hours remaining in the deadline day. If I hear anything or see any other stories, I will obviously drop a video on those. But in terms of Tonali, I don't.
Again, you and I, Henry, are in complete agreement. I do not see Tonali coming to Arsenal today. It's just too difficult. And it doesn't put Newcastle in a good light. And their fans would go absolutely crazy if they were to do something like that. If they were to sell Tonali on deadline day to Arsenal without a replacement.
Personally see a situation where they go out and actually sign this guy. I think it's more likely, as it stands right now, that Sandro Tonali stays at Newcastle. By the way, they just rejected a loan move from Fulham to sign Joe Willock, so I doubt they're going to let Tonali go. They have got some previous and current injury concerns to their midfield. They've lost their last 2 games. In terms of the midfield options, they've got Joelinton out injured. They've got potentially Willock leaving, and Sandro Tonali. I doubt he leaves. Bruno Guimaraes is still injured as well. I don't see him leaving. I just don't see it happening. But
look, Newcastle would be crazy to let him go, so it just doesn't make any sense. Wait till the summer for that move.
Let me know your thoughts down below. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, this is Henry Talks Football. Please click like, share, and subscribe for him as well as for me. Have a good rest of your day, and thanks for watching.